Hey guys, what you're watching is me in this Grandmaster easily tanking these player champions. I mean, look at this. I'm almost healing more than the damage that they can deal to me. And this is what happens in easier content. I mean, you literally stop taking damage, like this is insane. Now, I'm going to show you how I did this, but before I explain the build, I want to tell you guys that my Discord community has been expanding a lot, and if you're not in the Discord, then you're missing out on awesome giveaways, people to play with, and all my builds in one nice channel, so make sure you join. Okay, so we are going to achieve this tankiness by combining a couple of damage reduction sources like Well of Tenacity, Whisper of Chains, Resilience, chest mods, and sword guarding to even further increase our damage reduction. The exotic that we are going to be using is the Stronghold. And let me tell you, this is an absolutely amazing exotic because not only it improves your guarding on swords, but it also heals you if you guard before taking damage, which you can spam very often, meaning you can heal yourself 24/7 with this exotic. Now, if you combine this with one of the best swords in the entire game that also has insanely good guarding and it heals you on hit, you will end up healing quite a bit with your sword out. But it doesn't end there. We get even more healing and overshield from picking up stasis shards that we will be creating by shattering stasis crystals. Hence, a weapon with headstone goes really well with this build, but it is not mandatory. Okay, now that you have an overview of how the build works, let's hop on the stats as well as fragments and aspects. Stat-wise, we are going to be aiming for 100 resilience, 100 recovery, and then as much discipline as you can get. Okay, so ability-wise, we are going to be starting with Rally Barricade, and I'm using this simply because it has a lower cooldown, which means you can spam your barricade more often. As for our grenade, we are going to be using Glacier Grenade, and that's because this is going to be creating those stasis crystals that we are going to be shattering. For our aspects, we are starting with Tectonic Harvest, and this is going to give us those stasis shards whenever we shatter a stasis crystal. These shards are going to be giving us melee energy as well as heals and overshields. For the second aspect, we are using a Diamond Lance, and this is because it gives us 3 fragment slots, and the lance is actually pretty useful when you want to freeze a group of enemies or a champion. As for our fragments, we are going to be starting off with Whisper of Rhyme, and this is what's going to be giving us that nice heal and overshield whenever we pick up a stasis shard. Next up, we have Whisper of Shards, and this is going to boost our grenade recharge rate whenever we shatter a stasis crystal. Next up, we have Whisper of Chains, and this is going to be giving us that nice damage reduction when we are standing next to frozen targets or stasis crystals. Then we have Whisper of Torment, which is going to give us grenade energy whenever we take damage from our enemies. And finally, we have Whisper of Conduction, and this is simply because it gives you a very nice stats of 10 resilience and 10 intellect, and it also makes the stasis shards track to your position. As for our mods, we are going to be keeping this very simple, starting off with Well of Tenacity, which is going to be giving us a 40% damage reduction buff whenever we pick up a Void Elemental Well. Next up, on our gauntlets, we are going to be using Reaping Wellmaker, and this is what's going to be producing Void Wells for us whenever we use our class ability, which in our case is our Barricade. Which means that the next weapon kill after you pop your Barricade is guaranteed to drop a Void Elemental Well. On our chestplate, we are also going to be using a second copy of Well of Tenacity, and this is because they do stack together and is going to increase the duration of the resistance that it provides. On our legs, we are using a third copy of Well of Tenacity. This is going to provide us with a total of 16 seconds of a 40% damage reduction buff. Now, in order to stack this together, we have to be using Elemental Time Dilation, which is going to allow all the Well of Tenacities to stack together. We are combining this with an utility Kickstar, and then with the seasonal mod, Radiant Orbs, because it's nice to have that radiant whenever you pick up an orb of power. However, if you or your teammates are not creating a lot of orbs of power, then feel free to swap this out for another utility Kickstar. Now, weapon wise, you want to use a sword, and the one I can definitely recommend is the Lament, which is an absolutely amazing sword. Not only it heals you on hit, but it also has an anti-barrier built in. Now, for my kinetic and energy slot, I usually leave it for champions, unless there's an anti-barrier champion which my Lament can already take care of. That means I can use a Blinding Grenade launcher on my energy slot, which is absolutely amazing because it makes your enemies completely useless and can save you so many times. However, if you want to use the Bubble and Super Cheese that Stasis Titans can do, then feel free to swap out the Lament for any other sword, like for example the Crown Splitter. The way you play this build is simply by placing down your barricade, then getting a kill with your weapon to proc Well of Tenacity, and then you can throw your Stasis Grenade wherever you want to go, and tank anything that stands in your way. Well of Tenacity will last you long enough to the point where you will have another barricade ready to renew the duration. Your grenade will also be coming back fairly quickly, as you will have high discipline with this build, as well as the fragments helping you to get your grenade faster. Also, don't be afraid to use your super whenever you want to, as it deals a very good amount of damage and it spawns so many crystals around you that you will pretty much be immortal whenever using your super. You can very easily take out tanks with this super, and if you happen to be running the Titan Exotic Glaive, you can also do the mini bubble combo for some insane boss damage. Guys, that is all I have for you today. Remember to subscribe and like the video if you enjoy my content. Now, if you want to support me as a content creator, you can also become a member by clicking the link below. Also, I am streaming on Twitch, so if you want to ask me any questions or simply come and watch me play, then you can find me at twitch.tv/Treymanblok. As always, thanks for watching the video, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.